Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Come on along. Welcome to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Jim Coyle with you here as always. Verdell Jones is in the house too. Verdell, how are you, man?
Good, sir. I'm good. How things that way?
It is Friday, so it's a Friday, man. So it's always good to have a Friday on tap, and we've got one. The sun's out, so that's good. There's no snow on the ground. That's even better. We're getting closer to warmth. I need about 10 more degrees, Verdell.
I do too, man. I need to be able to walk out around at nighttime and not have to wear a coat. That's when you're there.
Yeah, that's just that little extra, but we're getting there, man. We're getting there. People getting outside, out and about. It's great to see the things are starting to loosen. Yes. Except for unless you live in Monroe County in Indiana, which is where Bloomington is. That's everybody who's surrounded by us is like, oh, great, but no, not here. It's just some of the same stupid stuff you've been dealing with, but that's another thing. But we're getting closer, man. Getting closer. People, vaccinations are rolling out. They dropped in Indiana. They were doing it by AIDS, and they went from 60 to 55 to 50 in just a matter of days. It was like boom, boom, boom. So that's a great sign. Soon as they line me up, well, I'm like, I might call people, hey, how about that standby list? Y'all got that standby list? It's whatever. I'll take it because they did. There is actually something like that for people that miss their appointments because they have to use those. They're pros and all that. But usually they had been for first responders and whatnot. But now it's like with the Johnson & Johnson that's out now, you got 3 of them out there. But people are trying to decide which one they want. And I'm like, no, I want the Moderna or the other one, man. I want the 95%. I don't want that 70% stuff. I want the 95%. I want it all. I made it this far. I'm not going halfway in, man. I've made it this far.
You're all the way in now. I hear you.
Right. What's new for you? Are you a fireman?
No, so the eligibility list became official on the 28th. Now the Champaign has to go through all the different background checks, has to go through, we'll have some interviews and more interviews at the end of the month. Then we got to do the physical. So it's still a whole process, but the eligibility list has officially been announced, which is good. So now it's just about the more processes. I think there's even like a lie detector test or something you got to do just to make sure that you're not crazy. So there's still a little bit of a journey to go, but it's exciting. I'm super excited about it. I appreciate Alec for the article he put out too. It really was something special. So, we'll see what happens, but everything is to continue to move forward. So until then, I'm gonna keep on enjoying some of this normalcy of life a little bit.
Yeah. If you missed it, go to thehoosier.com. Alec Lasley, a great piece on all the great things that this man is doing, and they are many. And there's not enough talked about great things, man. I've spent enough time talking about the junk and the coronavirus and Indiana basketball right now, but there's good stuff in the world, man. And this guy's one of them. So we not acknowledging that stuff. I know since you're the subject of what I'm talking about right now, it's kind of hard to, but not take yourself out of this. But when we don't acknowledge that stuff, even though it's here and there, and even I get jaded sometimes because I'm a hard ass. But if you don't acknowledge that, man, you start to get too hard. And there are great people out here. You're one of them. And it's not, you didn't do this, so you're not bragging about it. It's just a fact. But that's good for people to see because I hope it inspires people. It's like every day I say, go out and do something nice for somebody. Man, doing one nice thing, that could be, you could pick something up for somebody. That who knows? They could make their day. There's just so many things that you could do that are so small. But Verdell's are big, but there's small things you can do, man. But
absolutely,
just want to say that.
I think too many times we compound on negative things. I think social media has really given an outlet for people to kind of voice their own negative opinions on stuff. And eventually, man, it becomes depressing, and you continue to read and look and see negative stuff all the time. It just can really, damper the mood. And as you can see, the world right now needs some inspiration, needs some happiness. So, anytime that someone can help spread some of that joy to someone else, man, that's truly a blessing. So, we're just trying to spread a little bit of our joy here in Champaign.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with us, man, and spreading some of that our way so we can hopefully send it out through the airwaves as well, man. It's just a great thing to do. Since you're not, he's not going to be able to be on the entire show today, so we got to squeeze some subjects in real quick. Let's see, Nebraska. Well, I'll leave that one. Nebraska going. Scott Dolson. One of the things he's been left. I feel sorry for Scott in a lot of ways. Scott's an IU guy. He's a good guy. He's an IU guy. I mean, he was a manager on the '87 national championship team. He's Bob Knight. He hadn't been an athletic director before he is now. He worked under and in that department. Unfortunately, he worked for one that not a lot of people have a lot of faith in. Fred Glass, of course. But regardless of that, he's in a tough situation. He's been left a bag of crap by the guy who was responsible for getting him the job that he has, basically. I mean, Fred Glass, I'm quite certain, basically handpicked Scott and really pushed him to get that job over Pat Kraft or over Chris Reynolds. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying anything about Scott. I love Scott's a great guy. But he's been left a bag there because Fred Glass is the one that put him in this situation. And I don't know if he saw the writing on the wall coming after 3 years and say, it's time for me to get out because Archie's going to boom. But now you've got Scott that's got to deal with this. And you talk about coming in. He comes into COVID. He comes in to IU basketball being an absolute mess. Pretty tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it is, especially, at Indiana when basketball is everything. And, it's a tough situation. It is. I mean, that's for your first year to be in COVID and to have the kind of the program the way it is right now. I know a lot of fans are calling on him to make rash decisions, but at the same time, as AD, you got to look at, unfortunately, the bottom line, and that's money. And, it's kind of the way that certain contracts are structured and the way that certain things are going. He can't make some of these rash decisions that a lot of fans want. So he has to kind of play that middleman and take some of the, the criticism. But, I know Mr. Dolson from my playing days. I know he is a Hoosier at heart, Hoosier deep down. And he obviously wants what's best for the program and for the university. But at the same time, as an AD, you got to kind of do what's best for the program and the bottom line, which is money. So, I'm praying for him. It's no one, it's easy for us to be on the outside talking negative about what he should or should not do. But only when you're in that situation or in that position to make that call and you have to juggle all these different kind of narratives, do you really understand what's at stake? So, I actually believe that whatever decision that he'll make will be the best for Hoosier Nation moving forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt that at all. And actually, I'm just lamenting how ironic it is that. Yeah, thanks a lot, Fred. I appreciate you getting me this great job, but man, you could not have left me in a worse situation because the COVID is bad enough, and that's natural. I mean, that's an act of God or an act of China. I don't know, one of those two. But yeah, it's the Indiana basketball because if you look at IU sports overall right now, they're in pretty daggone good shape, and a lot of people want to give Fred Glass all the credit. I'm sure he could get some credit, but he didn't hire Todd Leary. I mean, he hired Jeff Mercer, and I think that was actually one of the best hires he's made. He hired Terry Morin, and that turned out to be a good hire too. They're number 10 in the country. They're rolling, playing well. The baseball team is well. Soccer team, of course, is the men's soccer team. I got the women's soccer team. He hired that coach, I believe, and they're ranked. The Indiana women's soccer team is ranked. but the basketball program is what matters. I was talking to a group of other people. All that great stuff I just listed, how football, men's football, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All of that great stuff. This town should just be busting at the seams with pride and the school and just so happy. But there's none of that because the basketball program is bringing all of that down. And it's sad. And I'm saying it because it sucks for those other teams. They're not getting the chance for people to celebrate them. And it's a good thing football has enough separation time-wise that people can get over this pain right now that they're going through. And they'll be longing for football probably when the fall rolls around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unfortunate. Even during my times there, when we were struggling our first few years, the soccer team was winning, and a lot of the swimming team was ranked nationally. But man, at the end of the day, Indiana IU is a basketball school, it's a basketball state, and that's always going to be key in the state of Indiana. So it's unfortunate that our recent struggles kind of overshadow some of those other sports and the great things that they're accomplishing. But I'm hoping that we don't take those other sports for granted. I mean, it was fun as hell to watch IU football win this year. It was super fun to be able to enjoy and be hyped about Indiana playing at Michigan or Ohio State. Like, that was super fun to enjoy. So even though we're going through our little struggles, I hope we don't really overlook a lot of the greatness that these other teams and IU is doing.
Yeah, I don't think that football is going to get overlooked but I agree with you. But it's going to be so much fun this fall because of having to go through this pain, which is unusual. I mean, it is the fact that we're sitting here having a conversation about fans going through the pain of basketball and waiting for football. It's like, what did I wake up at Auburn or something? Am I doing a show in Georgia somewhere now?
What parallel universe are we living in right now?
Exactly. It's bizarro world, man. Indiana baseball opens up today. That's right. Tim hit us up on the Andy Moore hotline. I've got that written down, but I forgot. They've got 2 games today up against Rutgers in Minnesota. They're up in Minnesota playing. They've got 4 games this weekend. So IU baseball they're a favorite to win the Big Ten title. So the last time they played, we didn't get to play last year, but the year before that, they did win the Big Ten. So, man, they've got a Grant Richardson, preseason All-American. They've got a pitching staff just loaded, man. I can't wait to get out and see some baseball, get outside and see something. Sure. It's just, hot dog. Man, it's like the little things you miss. Nebraska has come out. They are full-fledged football, full capacity next year. So back to their sellouts. Now I know VJ can't stay with us all day. When you have to leave after the segment?
I can probably stay on for another 15 minutes.
Okay, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Hey, we all want more, and no one gives you more for less than Andy Moore. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. What's new since we talked? Man, see, there's always stuff that I'm like going, man, I got to tell Verdell that. And I freaking forget.
Yeah, it's all good.
Because I have so many people on during the week, and it doesn't always work out. I'm like, oh, man, I wish I could have him on Friday with Verdell.
Right.
Like, I got the guy from the Elam Ending on today. We won't get to talk, but I may start having him come on Fridays at 10 because AJ's because AJ's at school right now. I just asked him if maybe wait till he gets out of school would be better for him because he's always at school and school should be getting out here in a couple months. So, but I may have Nick Elam start coming on. There you go. No, it's Alec. But that'd be cool to talk about. But they're using that in the NBA All-Star game this weekend. We didn't get to talk about that, but we will. What's up, Alec Lasley?
Mr.
How you guys
Lasley, how
doing?
you doing, sir?
Doing all
Not
right?
too bad. Not too bad. How you doing?
Doing good.
Paul Gable was
Can't
denied
complain
for
much.
the Big Ten women's tournament.
Yeah, I saw that. Are you? Oh, that was women's.
Yes, or was it?
Oh, okay. I thought it was. I don't know. I just looked briefly when you sent it over
No,
this morning.
I
just assumed it
apologize.
was
I
men's.
apologize. I apologize. That had to be the men's because I did not apply for the women's.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of what I thought. So okay.
Yes, he was denied. Denied. AJ, the damn NCAA tournament is going to be in Indiana, and I'm not going to get to go. I won't get to cover it
Dang,
because Indiana is not going to be in it. And this year they're so cut down.
oh man.
Your school's not in, you're not in.
Oh, that sucks. Alec, are you going or no?
No, I won't be able to do anything with it. Even they were saying, even if the team, like even if IU was going to be in it, it was going to be really difficult to get.
Like 5 people or something.
No, that was for the Big Ten tournament. That wasn't even for the NCAA. The NCAA, they were going to minimize it even more and make it basically if you were like if you wrote for like the IU Hoosiers, you'd be able to get in there. But if you wrote for any other outlet, probably wouldn't be able to get in there.
On your next visit to West Baden.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sillersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Ooh. Welcome back to the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios here on this Friday, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. They've got a 0% sales event going on right now. You better get out there. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com joining us now on this Friday. Alec, how are you, sir?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Cannot complain. VJ's here, so it always makes a great and fun Friday.
Oh,
Yep,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, Alec, I just want to say again, man, I appreciate that article. It really, man, it turned out great, and really gained a lot of support for my youth program, especially here in town. So I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. We obviously talked about everything that you were doing in the community and wanted to make sure everyone knew exactly what you were doing, and any way they could obviously help that way would be the best way to get that out there.
Yeah, and it's funny. I remember talking to Alec about that and saying, it's talking about things. Just, man, he should do this and this, and I put it in my own notes. I don't do a lot of writing because I don't have time right now. But I had put down I was going to write VJ piece. I was going to write that up, and I'd forgotten about it. And I'm like Sunday night, I was getting ready to start, and then I was talking to Alec. He goes, "Yeah, I got the Verdell piece about done." I'm like, "Great, all right, good job." I'm like, "Forget about that." I was like, "Damn, I forgot all about that." But yeah, it was just awesome. I loved it. It was just a great. Like I've said that. We'll talk more about that later. But absolutely, if you haven't read it, you need to. It's cool stuff. What's going on recruiting is difficult enough, but it can't be that easy when people are calling for your job. I just saw that there's a kid in Eastern Kentucky that is one of those that Archie has expressed interest in. I'm like, why? You got no shot at that kid. Leave it alone. But anyway, recruiting is difficult enough, in good times. Has been difficult enough for Archie when he got here the first 2 years. That's why he's got 2 open scholarships now. How is recruiting going to not get even more difficult during this period of not knowing if he's going to be here next year, or then if he does come back, there's not going to be an extension. There's no chance in hell of that for next year. So then you've got a whole nother year of questions. That is where bringing him back is very, very difficult for recruiting.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously the biggest question. How do you kind of recruit through really not knowing how much longer you're going to be there, whether it be a year, 2, 3 years, anything like that. It's still going to be tough because anyone you bring in now, that's going to be 5 years down the line, right? Because they won't be coming in until the 2022 class. So, I mean, you have one commit already with CJ Gunn, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But beyond that, yeah, it's going to be really tough to not only talk to the player, but also the parents and make sure that they know 100% with certainty, which they're not going to be able to know, that he's going to be there for not only the start of his college career, but then to finish off 2, 3, 4 years into his college career. And that's going to be the biggest selling point. And obviously, if you're not winning, it's going to be even more difficult to kind of mask that. But I mean, Indiana's still going to be in a lot of these kind of top 5, top 4 lists, just because they still have somewhat of a presence, right? I mean, it's still Indiana. We've talked about how maybe that presence for people not in Indiana has kind of fallen off as of late, but it still has some of the draw for in-state kids, and also it's still playing in one of the best conferences in college basketball, so people do like that. And you're still going to find kids aren't going to just shy away from Indiana just because they don't know who the coach is going to be, because there's still going to be tons of spots available in the upcoming classes. And we'll know at least a little bit more about that coming up in the next few months with the one-time transfer rule to become eligible immediately. So you'll have a lot more spots open, and you'll kind of see rosters really change a lot more than what we're used to here in the next probably month and a half to 2 months once the season ends and people start to move on to their next phase.
Verdell, you played for a coach that you wanted to play for. I mean, you came, I'm assuming, you came to play for Tom Crean, not Indiana University. I mean, Indiana was, of course, a part of that. But tell us, your recruitment, what sold you? Was it more Tom Crean selling you on what he wanted his vision for you to be? How much did Indiana play a part of that? What sold you?
It was a mixture of both. Coach Crean and Tim Buckley were both recruiting me at Marquette. Didn't like Marquette, just didn't really enjoy that whole experience. Kind of had my sights set on, more Minnesota and Kentucky's. And then, Coach Buckley, once Coach Crean got the job at Indiana, they called me in for unofficial. And I took a visit, and really I fell in love with Indiana. I walking into the assembly hall, I fell in love with that gym. I fell in love with, those banners. I fell in love with the candy stripes. I fell in love with how much basketball meant to the state of Indiana. And for any real athlete or player, that's what you look for in a program. That's what you want to play for. You want to play for a program where basketball matters that much. And so for me, especially, that's when I fell in love. Coach Crean, obviously, he gave us the whole D Wade highlight video and give you the good talk and stuff like that. And his energy and how I felt he could develop me definitely played a part in it. But Indiana, that visit to Indiana that spring kind of sealed the deal for me. And, so I think like Alex said, I mean, for some guys, it will be for who the coach is, but for other guys, it's about playing for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, and that has long been the case. I mean, Indiana having been a blue blood program, a lot closer back to the time. That's been too long ago. And so with that separation, that luster is starting to fade a lot, and it needs polished. And that's what's not happened here. So that draw, when you came, even though it was on the backside of some really bad times, it was still close enough to the luster that it was repairable. And you saw what you guys did. I mean, it was great to go from year one with one win in the Big Ten to 11 wins 3 years later. I mean, incredible to see that growth. But that growth is what kept Indiana fans engaged. It kept them looking. They knew they could see it coming. And boy, did it come, man. Number 1 ranking, bam, went up there. I mean, problems later. But anyway, it got to where that it happened. This is not that. People are running the opposite way. It's not a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a train, and they can hear the whistle, and they're trying like hell to run out of the tunnel. They're going the opposite way. And it's just kind of an opposite time at Indiana.
I definitely think that just from a player standpoint and seeing on Twitter and just watching, I definitely think that enthusiasm is not quite the same as it was when I was there. Especially like you said, we struggled our first 3 years, but the support never wavered because, like you said, they could see the building blocks coming together. And I think when Cody came, that was kind of the icing on the top, and that kind of just put IU back to where they were supposed to be. But it's kind of disheartening to see kind of the backwards development of the enthusiasm for the program. That's kind of disheartening for sure.
And so now they've got Purdue coming up tomorrow, Alec. Not only do they have Purdue coming up tomorrow, you don't have Armand Franklin. You're not going to have Race Thompson, I doubt. I shouldn't say that. He's day-to-day, but we didn't think he was going to play in the game where he got injured. He broke his nose, but he took another shot. Oh, oh my God, I cannot imagine how bad that hurt. Even wearing a mask, it was in the Michigan State game. He just caught that hand by accident, but man, he went down to his knees, and you could just tell it was like, oh God, does that hurt? And he had to get surgery on it to repair it. It probably hurt it worse. And so there's no doubt he's got to be done for the year. There's no chance. You had surgery. He's not playing. So Indiana's going to be without Armand Franklin, without Race Thompson against Purdue, who I gave them zero chance against to begin with. They've got no inside presence. You've got no one to replace Race. And Trace, we've seen when he gets double teamed, is not been worked out well for him. This could be the ugliest game in the Archie Miller tenure.
Yeah, a couple points about that. I mean, we say that, and yeah, you look over the last 4 years, and there definitely have been very ugly losses going back to his the start of his tenure against Indiana State. So, I mean, you've had ugly losses in there, and if you're calling it the ugly loss in the Archie Miller tenure, that's going to be pretty tough, especially being against Purdue. But yeah, I mean, Race Thompson, Archie Miller said on his radio show last night, he had said it was a minor procedure, said he definitely re-aggravated the nose that he broke a few weeks ago, and then probably re-aggravated it just a little bit more as well. So minor procedure. He has been practicing, didn't practice yesterday. From what Archie Miller said, he was at practice, but did not take part in any of the actual drills or any kind of physical contact. I think he noted that there were only 7 players that they actually had on the court. So at this time of year, when you're only practicing with 7, 8 guys, you can't even go 5-on-5. Kind of tough to not only get better, but also just have guys find confidence and be able to kind of find exactly what role they're supposed to play when you don't really have any sort of way to practice that. But yeah, we'll see if Race Thompson plays. If not, you look to Jerome Hunter kind of sliding into that small ball 4, which Indiana has had success with. I mean, it does open up the paint. It opens up a little bit more room for Trace Jackson Davis. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to one, whether or not Trace Jackson Davis can finish at the rim against the size and physicality of Purdue. And if they do double, how effective he is passing out of the double team, because at times he really hasn't been super effective at making crisp passes. And that leads to, turnovers or just a lack of flow on the offensive end, which we know Indiana's really struggled with, especially over the past few weeks here. But I don't necessarily think – I think you'll see that affect more of the defensive end of the floor if Race Thompson's not able to go than it would offensively, just because I do think at times if you have Jerome Hunter playing the 4, you do have a little bit more of a flow in there.
Verdell?
No, I mean – it's just a tough situation, like you said, to have 7 players at the end of the year and just really try to create kind of some momentum going to this big rivalry game. But at the same time, for guys like Rob, who I feel has been playing a lot more aggressive, Al, people like that, I think I'm praying that this won't be a blowout. I think it's going to be a lot closer game because those guys want to go out with a legacy. They want to go out at least beating Purdue once in their tenure. So, I'm hoping that enthusiasm and that kind of competitive nature kicks in. And I think Trace is due for a huge game too. I think he's been frustrated. You can obviously see it in his games, just with the double teams, with shots not falling. And, you can see he kind of forced a couple of things, and that just comes from frustration. So I'm I'm expecting even from a 7, 8 players or how many they have, that they'll play with a lot of enthusiasm and kind of, hopefully reckless abandon. Sometimes that works the best.
They're going to have to bring in Geronimo. We're going to get to see a lot more of him. And that is another reason, Verdell, I banged the drum all year of let these freshmen play. There were so many opportunities in games that Archie should have been putting these freshmen in and just did not. And over and over I said, you're going to need this at the end of the year. You have a thin bench as it is because you have 2 open scholarships because you couldn't recruit people because they don't want to play for you. So you have to maximize what you have, which you didn't. You didn't give him those minutes until he was forced to when Armand got hurt, and now that Race is hurt. But it's the last damn regular season, the game of the year. They're not going to be as ready as they could have been. We've seen how much Christian Landers improved. Archie talked about how he's the, absolutely, we know he's the best passer on the floor. We've seen that all year. The other guys aren't always ready for him, but that's because the more minutes he's gotten, the more confident he has gotten. He's not gotten better. He's gotten more confident. He's already good. He's already athletic. He's already smart. He already has the vision. You got to play, and you got to make the mistakes to know that doesn't work. So you got to live with it. But that being said, I mean, they're going to have to step up in a game that they're probably not prepared for because they haven't had as many minutes. But man, this is the time for these freshmen. They get to go out and lay it all on the line. From the freshman standpoint, they should have really no pressure on them. You cannot expect much from them. Can't put pressure on them. They haven't been prepared as well as I think they should have been for this situation. So just go out and do what you can do. Play loose. I mean,
and I think you'll see a lot of benefits from that. I do. I think Christian, man, I like you said, I wish he'd have had more of a leash at the beginning of the season because his development now would be a lot more further along. You're right. I think he looks way more confident just because he's had more repetition and more minutes, and that's key for any freshman. I like Geronimo. I think he brings a lot of valuable things. He finishes strong at the rim. There's different aspects that he brings that some other guys can't. So I'm excited to see them just go out there and just play. Sometimes when you just have that pure freedom that, hey, I can't get subbed out anyways, that just gives you a lot more confidence to make plays.
Alec?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one development of Christian Lander's game is really, Archie Miller talked about it last night too, is the way that he's driving into the lane and finishing with a lot more confidence and not so much settling for the 3 ball because I can't remember what game it was, but it was about 3 games ago. Christian Lander had his first made 2-point field goal since the season opener. And that just shows you kind of not only the lack of confidence to finish at the rim, because we've seen him really struggle over the last few games to actually finish around the rim, but just his lack of confidence in pretty much any part of his game outside of his outside shot, which is very easy to just kind of settle on, right? When teams aren't playing well offensively, they tend to settle more from the outside just because they want to make up ground a little bit quicker from a made 3 than trying to force something at the rim. And that's what he was doing. So his ability to really get into the lane, not only make plays for his teammates, but now have the confidence to finish around the rim is something that, is very easy to take from one game to the next for him. And then obviously moving forward into next season.
Alec Lasley, make sure you give him a follow at thehoosier.com and on Twitter at Al Lasley. He'll be complete coverage of Indiana and Purdue tomorrow. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Verdell's got to bust out as well. I hate to see him go, but he's a busy man out serving the community. So that's what he's got to do today. You guys both go out and have a great day. Appreciate both of you, and look forward to see you next week, or both of you next week, I guess. Have a great weekend, and enjoy. Let's bring it on, all right?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, guys.
See you guys later.
See ya.
All right. We'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Back with Nick Elam here for the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Welcome to your extra.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. How are we all doing today?
Good. Were you in your underwear?
Close.
That is one good thing. If I had to do the show in my underwear, I could.
Yeah, I've gotten the.
We've gotten before you. There is a live YouTube audience, just so you know.
Oh, gotcha.
There's not a ton of people, but just that's not the main audience. It's just some people just like to listen live, but there's just letting you know so you don't slip with anything.
Gotcha. But I've gotten the sport jacket and sweatpants look down for sure over this last year or so with different.
I used to be an anchor, so trust me. Sitting on my sport coat with my shorts on and flip flops a lot. Just sitting at the desk, all jabbered up, and then wearing shorts underneath of it, or tennis shoes. Definitely dealing. You're still in Cincinnati?
I live in Fishers now.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I work at Ball State, so.
Oh, I knew you went there. I don't know if I knew you worked there.
Well, I went to University of Dayton, but now I work at Ball State.
Now I'm all confused. I had my stuff messed up. Huh. Do you know Glenn Snow by chance?
Glenn Snow. I don't recognize that name.
He's not there, but he is heavily involved in the athletic training department. Was my high school trainer. He's a Ball State guy from the 60s, I think, but he looks like Aldo Cella, and he hasn't gained an age a day since high school, but great guy, but he's very well known there. Very well known there. But National High School Trainer of the Year 3 times. He worked in the NFL and stuff, but super good guy. But he's a big Ball State guy.
Wow, that's awesome. No, I haven't crossed paths with him, but hopefully once things open back up, I will. I haven't been going up to campus very much just because a lot of our classes are virtual. So I've been working from home a lot.
Yeah, just ask about Snowball. They'll know exactly who you're talking about. Man, I don't have anybody for freaking 10 o'clock today. Brand new Honda from Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer, Andy Moore Honda. Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, where more means more. More selection, more savings.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
I can take you home.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by the great folks Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Indiana Sports Beat. Joined now by Nick Elam of the Elam Ending. How are you, sir? Do we still have you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Just doing wonderfully. Looking forward to.
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you doing
fine.
today?
Just looking forward to the All-Star game on Sunday, NBA All-Star game. The next use of the Elam Ending. Haven't seen it since the TBT.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Really excited to get it implemented a second time. I mean, it's a big endorsement to have it implemented one time in NBA play, but then to bring it back for a second time, I think that's the strongest endorsement it can get.
Any indication on future use of it? Are there other organizations? Have you talked with anybody else?
Well, the big development in 2020 after the NBA All-Star game was that a FIBA league for the first time implemented the Elam Ending. They implemented it in 20 the way it works, but now it's got that foot in the door in FIBA play. It's exciting to think about what other nations, what other leagues might implement it going forward.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Nick to rejoin us. He's got a kind of a bad connection there, but we'll continue to talk about that, Nick. So if you can just go out and rejoin and come back in, and we'll continue to talk about that. But if you're not, most of you are familiar with it, but the Elam Ending, if you watch the TBT, it makes it so unique because you get to a certain point in their fourth quarter and they set the points that they need to hit for the win, for the game. And it is just a very unique situation, and it takes out the fouling. It changes the outcome of the game, and it's just kind of a unique twist on. And it surely those games where that takes 15 minutes to get through 5 seconds of fouls is maddening. That doesn't happen with the Elam ending. I'm not sure if Nick went out to rejoin or not, but we'll see if we can get him back on, like I said, and just keep on talking to him. But also on the hit us up on the text line, as everyone has. Continue to do so. Andy Moore hotline. You can do that. You can kick him off, Trevor, and try to get him to rejoin. But Jesse hitting us up on the hotline saying that I honestly see Archie as being the coach here next year, which we'll hit all that stuff maybe in this 10 o'clock hour, depending on whether or not Nick comes back. Nick. And Nick's going to be joining us in the future on a regular basis. So we're looking forward to that as he is heavily involved in the basketball world. But the fact that the NBA is using this in the All-Star game is what's incredible. Last year was the first year that they did it, and they're coming back to do it again. So we're looking forward to that. But looking forward to seeing how it works. Now, the NBA this year may not be as good because basically the players don't want to play in this game. And I don't blame them. This NBA All-Star game is not as bad as the conference tournaments. But yeah, it is in a different way because all right, these NBA, this is in the middle of their season, in the middle of a grind, a coronavirus grind. Really? You can't give them 3 days to rest a little bit? Nobody gives a crap about the NBA All-Star game, I don't think. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't give a crap about the NBA All-Star game. So there are plenty of people that do. I shouldn't say that. Let's see. We're gonna Archie talk. I'm holding until after we go to the overtime because that's just a dead horse that's tired of being beat. Football, looking forward to that. We talked about baseball opening up today. I mean, we got a lot of soccer that didn't happen in the fall is already ongoing. Indiana is 2-1 in the Big Ten. I can't believe they lost to Northwestern 1-0. But that's already underway. The Indiana women's soccer program being ranked already. Wow. What a great job the coach is doing over there. But so a lot of good things going on. But like I said earlier, when basketball, it's not having a bad season. That's one thing. This is not having a bad season. This is a 5-year spell of depression that has worsened. And there's no sign of it not worsening. So that drags down the excitement for other sports very unjustly. It's not fair to those other players, those other coaches, and their fans. But it's not purposeful. But I am looking forward to seeing some baseball. Hope Nick can get back on here with us. AJ is normally with us as well. He couldn't make it. It's just one of those bad days. Verdell had to leave early. So you're kind of stuck with me at the moment as we're waiting to get Nick back on here. I understand it's his internet connection. But looking forward to watching this game tomorrow. But I'm really afraid. I got to be honest with you. Without Race Thompson, they are going to just smother Trace Jackson Davis. I mean, they got some bigs. Purdue, they can just bring more in. Now, Geronimo is athletic, and that can work to his advantage, but he's 6'6". They got a 7-foot dude. What's he going to do with that? They've got a deeper bench. Indiana is, so how many players you down to now? 9? 8? With 4 of them being freshmen that have seen limited minutes this year? That's why you have to develop your players as the season goes, not at the end of the season. That's why you have to develop your players in the offseason, which I know that the normal preseason was cut drastically short, but you do other things. You play them in more minutes. You do whatever it takes. Looks like Nick back with us there, Nick. But hopefully he will. They'll certainly be getting those minutes tonight. Again, it's the last game of the regular season, unfortunately. But then there's the Big Ten tournament coming up. But they'll at least get one more game in that. And will they play in the NIT? I don't know. Would they accept a bid there? It's a good question. And I don't know what the answer is. Would Al Durham want to play? Just because probably for Al Durham, I can see him doing that. For the experience for these freshmen, they almost have to do it. They have to do it. There's no almost. They have to do it. Any potential game time minutes that those freshmen can get is valuable. We've seen, like I talked about earlier, Christian Lander get better and better. And that's what Indiana needs. But they don't have it because Archie did not develop him. He did not play him. He's stuck with his script, which I don't want. It gets me so angry when I start thinking about it. Not because of fan rage, because it's idiotic. It makes no damn sense. What are you doing? You got so many players. You're going to need them all, but yet you're not playing them. You're only playing certain ones that aren't playing great to begin with. That makes even less sense. That is why it's not just one thing. Now, you can look at the fact that he's done nothing but lose, mainly. And the only thing consistently has happened is he's lost in Big Ten play. And lost worse. 6th, 8th, 10th. They're probably going to end up 11th, 12th this year. But those are the things. When you can see why what is happening, and everybody in the world can see why what is happening, and the guy, and the only guy who is responsible is asked about it and just shakes his head and just keeps his head in the sand. What are you doing? What do you do with that? So it's it's a really fearful game tomorrow. And do you think Purdue is not relishing every opportunity to beat the ever-loving crap out of Indiana? Yes, it's a rivalry to them. It's not much of a rivalry to Indiana because there's no culture there like that. I just don't see it. No one sees it. Didn't intend to get on this little rant, but I'm by myself now. So a lot of football recruits making Indiana up. Tim hitting us up. A lot of football recruits making Indiana in their final cut now. Absolutely. And not only that, they're doing it they're making the final cut with big name programs. And that's just going to continue. That will only continue as it goes on. As Delon McCullough starts to come in and bring higher recruits in. I mean, it's just, I cannot, as disappointed as I am with the basketball program, I'm that excited about the football program. And that shows you exactly Do you think Tom Allen has done this one way? I can tell you right now, hell knows the answer to that, because guess what? He didn't really know what he was doing when he first got into this. And I don't mean that as a slight to him, but he had zero experience as a collegiate head coach. He'd only coached in college for a few years. And he starts out at the Big Ten level. But, hey, he navigated through the Big Ten from a bottom feeder program that nobody had ever been able to manage in decades, because he was flexible. He knew he changed things. He was the DC. Hey, that's not working. I got to change this. Hey, this type of personnel is not working. I got to change this. Hey, I need these type of coaches to bring in these type of players. He went out and got those type of coaches to bring in those type of players. If you notice, the recruiting for Indiana football just continues to rise. Now, of course, part of that comes with winning, but winning comes with better recruits, better coaching. It's a cycle. And it all has to play into the next. It's a chain link. And you're only as strong as your weakest link in that circle. Well, there's all kind of busted links on the basketball side. That's the problem. And there's no fixing. There's no changing, no altering. So there will be no difference there. Let's just talk about football. Spring football coming up. Unfortunately, fans won't be able to see it, I don't think, but it's going to be there. The vaccination age keeps dropping. People are going to get vaccinated. Everybody out in the state is having a good time, unless you live in the Bloomington area, it seems. But that's going to be changing soon, hopefully. Lots of people out and about. Games, going to get out and see some baseball. Hey, the sectionals tonight. Forgot to talk about that. You can actually get out and see some sectional games. So go out and do that. Tomorrow night should be most championships, but I think how did I get into a stupid commercial? Let's see. I was trying to think of some of the bigger games. But now you can go out and see these games. I think the attendance is set county by county. Some of these places are at max attendance. Nebraska. Full attendance next year for football. They're saying, we're on. Nebraska, of course, has the longest streak of sold-out games. Like 370 something, I think, when we were there for the Indiana game. Last year doesn't count. They're back at it this year, and that thing will be, oh my man, they do football there. They do football. And I'm looking forward to seeing, well, not only, first of all, what Indiana is going to allow here, because Indiana is for being in a liberal school and a liberal town, it is the most conservative school in things. They're allowing only 500 people to attend Assembly Hall for the NCAA tournament, while the rest of the NCAA sites are allowing 25% capacity. 500 total people. That's not even fans. That's just total people. That's because of the Monroe County Board of Health. You can thank the Monroe County Board of Health for that. Everybody else in the state is all good. But apparently here, it's just right here, just in Assembly Hall. Simon Scott Assembly Hall is apparently a COVID hotspot. I'm kidding about that. It's a joke. I'm not serious. I'm being facetious. It's not IU. I don't think IU has anything to do with setting those numbers. This is the Monroe County Board of Health. So, where are we in a break? Oh, yeah. Might get Todd Leary on here in a minute to talk about tomorrow's game. But, of course, we'll know what that would be like. A little preview of tomorrow's post-game show. The post-game shows, by the way, have been fantastic. You guys are awesome, man. They have been big and just growing. Getting like 5,000 people a show. But you got to start going to YouTube. Next year, they are all going to be on YouTube. And you can go to they have a permanent link, you can just go subscribe there, and everything, you get notifications for the shows. Everything is there. Indiana Sports Beat Radio is how you can find it, but the actual address is the https:// youtube.com/C/ Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Pretty easy. We got, I think Todd Leary may be coming up next, so we can see if we can get him on here and talk about tomorrow's game. What else was I going to talk? Oh, yeah, student manager. Did you see this? At Texas Tech was allowed to play in a game last night. He's a senior. He's a student, so, he's eligible. So they put him in a game. It's a Big 12 game. He's only in it for like 30 seconds. Draws a charge. Little bitty guy. He's down on right in front of the charge line and draws a charge. And their big center comes up and gives him a big hug. It was funny. Hilarious stuff. Hey, you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. We're back with maybe Todd Leary after this.
Hey, we all want more, and no one gives you more for.
Did Nick say what his problem was?
Connection. Bullshit. God damn it. That's so fucking aggravating.
I sent the link off to Todd.
Oh, shit. I read the text. Gosh, damn it. I hate guest issues, people. Let's see. Is there anything I didn't talk about that I want to? The NBA All-Star game's coming up. Oh, Les Miles. How about Les Miles? All right, we'll have Todd Leary. Todd, hold my beer. That's exactly. Somebody was last night was asking me about that. So y'all need some security. I said, no, that dude was about. Oh, it was some guys I know that work security, but they were like, y'all need security. I'm like, no, that guy needed security because Todd was about to whip his ass. Last week, were you on the postgame show where that drunk guy was in there and was next to Todd, and then he came up behind one of us and put the finger up? I don't know if it was, I don't know who was doing the post-game show, but one of them, he came up behind one of us and just leaned in like this and did the thing. And I couldn't tell if he was behind me. I turned around. I hope he was, because I was going to grab his finger and just turn that some bitch and walk him right out the door. Well, Tim, I appreciate that, but I don't want to listen to me talk. I can tell you that.
Hey.
You're in a vehicle.
I told you I was driving.
Well, I know. I meant not a.
Yeah. I'm in my Jeep.
Jeep. I don't know that I can, but I may be able to swap mine out for you for a day or something, or after.
No, it's not that big.
They cut them.
And a premier resort.
They didn't even give us.
That is waiting for you.
They didn't even give us two. They gave us one. And for the NCAA, or no, it's for only 5 per school.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back. Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Friday. Joined now by Todd Leary. Todd Leary, how are you doing, sir?
Well, it's not a game day, so I'm in a good mood.
Yeah,
it's usually flip flop of that.
I said he'll be in a different mood because we don't have to. It's not after a game. So, but the weather is incredible. It's getting it is golf season. There were people out there. The Golf Club at Eagle Point is open and they're playing, and I think
was
Fritz
out there
Slick is
yesterday.
opening playing.
I was out there yesterday.
Did you play yesterday?
I did. I played 5 holes.
Why am I surprised? I don't know.
Of
course you did. Yeah, I guess I wasn't. Was there a lot of people out yesterday?
A ton. There's a lot.
How was it?
Surprised.
How was the play?
The course was in way better. I thought it was going to be way wetter with all the snow and melting and all that stuff.
That's
the course
exactly
was
what I
in
thought.
Great shape. It was in great shape. It was awesome. I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, there you go, man.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Yeah.
I was talking earlier about Scott Dolson and the bag of doo-doo that Fred Glass just basically left in his lap. Because you got it. On one hand, he's like, man, thank you for getting me this incredible lifetime job, once in a lifetime job. But thanks again for the big bag of crap you left in my lap to deal with. Because, man, that is a mess he's going to have to deal with. And it's almost unfair because he's coming into Corona on top of that to begin with. So, you want to get ingratiated into the job, although he's worked in this area for a long time. It's still, the responsibilities are totally different, and it buck stops with you. So I don't envy Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I love, everyone loves a challenge like that. Like, you love that opportunity. I mean, if he walked into, what can you do if you come in and you become the CEO of Amazon right now? I mean, really, all you can do is screw that up. Like, they got everything. They got the world by the tail right now. And, you walk into a situation where, it's not like you have to build a gigantic fan base. You've already got that. I mean, that's been built solidly over many, many, many years. And, you've got a situation that, I think everybody, including myself right now, has kind of jumped into all right, well, let's start over. Let's get a new coach. Let's get it going. Let's start over and find a new one and find the next best guy and all that stuff. And I'll be perfectly honest. I don't think that's where Scott Dolson's head is. And I don't blame him for that. I don't think as the AD, that's where it should be. I think he should be, concentrating on what can we do to make this work. And I think that's the smart decision. I think that's the safer decision. I think that's the decision that unless there is that home run hire, which is truly the only home run hire right now that I think most people would blurt out of their mouth is Brad Stevens. And I think we all can, say on paper that looks like the perfect scenario, but it's probably not the right timing. It's not going to happen right now for Brad Stevens and for that whole scenario to work itself out. And timing has a ton to do. Timing had a ton to do with how Archie got hired. And so, I think that I'm the first one, Jim, after the games, I'm the first person that sits there and says, I hate watching this team. Like, this team is not fun to watch. I want to see something different. And honestly, I would say if I were Scott Dolson, I think Scott Dolson is more in the, how do we fix this rather than how do we change this mindset. And, back to, I guess that's not what you were originally commenting on. Like, I envy his position because, he could come out of this looking great, or he's kind of got a built-in excuse in Corona and in COVID. So, I mean, I don't think he's in a terrible position.
Well, yeah, because he gets very little of the blame.
Yeah, he's going to get a free pass. He's going to get a free pass for a while.
And then he gets, and if that's how it works out, then he gives himself time to, because I've been saying all along, you have to have the guy, and you have to know you have the guy before you can ever do anything about anything in any situation, because otherwise, man, you're out there on an island. It's like selling your house without having a house to go to. Man, you're homeless. So yeah, it's a difficult situation. Because another thing that I pointed out with the other guest earlier, there's so many of the IU programs that are doing so well right now. Indiana football, Indiana soccer, Indiana baseball, women's soccer is ranked, Indiana women's basketball, all doing just tremendous. But the basketball program is so down that the apathy is hurting the excitement for some of those other programs. And it sucks for that regard, but man, those other programs are doing wonderful, but it would just be nice to everyone just wants to see the basketball program be competitive and then return hopefully to what it could be and used to be. And I think that's an easy fix. But you lost me. Yeah, I think he said he lost us, man. But that's just the kids have to make the decisions, and it's just and you're making decisions at a young age. There's a lot of difficulty that goes into this, and these are some of the most important times of your life. Some of the most decisions made in the kids' lives at the time of their life. So. And it talked about the timing issue. Yeah, all that plays back into the timing part. So timing has everything to do with everything, Todd Leary. You're absolutely right. And you came in just in perfect time right there to jump right back in. So and right there you are, and it's perfect. But tomorrow they take on a Purdue team I gave them no chance to begin with, but now you don't have Armand Franklin. I'm pretty sure you're probably not going to have Race Thompson. You're lacking 2 scholarship players already. You got 4 freshmen who've seen limited minutes. It could be a beatdown, or it could be a freshman coming out party.
Yeah, I'm gonna pile on with Archie Miller a little bit on this one, and I'm gonna say, if 2 of the 3 guards play well in this scenario, they may need all 3 guards to play well, or they may need to play a different kind of lineup, and Jerome Hunter might need to play really well. But I don't, they're not playing Michigan. Okay. They're not playing Baylor, and they're not playing Gonzaga. So they've got a chance to win no matter who this is, because I don't think, Purdue's a good team, and they're smart, and they're not going to beat themselves. So you're going to have to go out and win. You're going to have to go out and play above the level that you've been playing in order to win. And that's not, it's not like I'm saying they've got to go out and shoot 15 for 20 from the 3-point line. They just have to play, Al Durham's got to have a really, really. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I keep getting a call that keeps cutting me off here. But, Al's got to have a really good game. And, Rob Finney's got to have a really good game. And, I think some of the freshmen are going to have to come in and play above the level that they've been playing at. But it's not like they've got to go out and score 30. They've just got to play. They've all got to play good at the same time. And then, of course, obviously, Trace has got to have a Trace kind of game. And they're not playing the Lakers. They're not playing Michigan or one of those teams. Like they could come out and beat Purdue, but Purdue's not going to beat itself, and you're going to have to play well in order to do so. And that to me is the challenge. Like that's where I think these guys should look at this as a great opportunity and a great challenge. They could go on, Jim. I know I'm Nancy negative, so it's crazy for me to say this, but they could go on a decent little mini run here and still make the tournament without winning the Big Ten tournament. But that they've shown no signs of doing so. So I don't know. It's kind of idiotic for me to even say that. It's like wishing on a star, but that they've got the opportunity to definitely go out. How many times have you ever seen, if no other motivation was needed in the world, how many times have you seen Purdue motivate themselves to come out and ruin an Indiana season? I know they did it once to me. They did it once
sometimes
to me.
that's all you have, and that's all Indiana has.
And that's all Indiana has right now. Go out and ruin. You can ruin Purdue's. Purdue's going to make the tournament no matter what, even if they
you don't want to be
lose out. But
if
you could be the one that puts them at a worse seed.
And also, if you're Purdue, you don't want to be the guys that let that streak end that they've got going.
Sure. Especially when you're looking at what this team's done. This is an Indiana team that Purdue on paper should beat. But, you look at it, I have no clue. But I'm going to say the Vegas odds people who are supposedly the super smart people, like this line, I doubt this line's going to be like some crazy line like Purdue's a gigantic favorite. I'll bet they'll be like a 4 or 5 point favorite. They're not going to be like they're like a 12 or 14 point favorite or something, because it's not that kind of team.
Well, the only thing that would probably change that is the fact they don't have Race and Armand. and they're going to be so freaking thin. But otherwise, I mean, I agree with you there. They're just a above average team, and that's it. But Indiana's so damn thin. That's just going to, and not having any depth at the big. I mean, my fear is they're just going to double team Trace Jackson Davis to death, and they've got 3-4 bigs they could throw in there if they had to beat up on him.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it though from the standpoint of Williams is he's a spurty player. Like, I say this all the time, and this may not go over very well, but I say with different players, like, would you trade? I said it with Ohio State. Would you have traded Liddell for Trace Jackson Davis? I mean, I would. Like, I think he's better for your team. Like, I think that he is an easier guy to build your team around. I wouldn't trade Williams for Trace. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't think he's that great, and I don't think he plays that hard. Like, there's a lot of guys that play really hard that are difficult to play against. I don't think he's one of those. I don't think he plays that hard. He's good, he's extremely talented, but I don't think he's that. I wouldn't trade Trace for him.
I know that I don't think this is crazy at all. I've talked about it before. I would love to see the 4 freshmen and Trace start the game. You don't have to leave them in there for 15 minutes.
What's the definition of insanity? It's the definition of insanity. Thinking a different result's going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Doing the same thing. And I know it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
But my point is, it's like, I'd love to see it. Just, he would put Christian in for earlier in the season for 2 minutes at a time. Like, okay, start the freaking freshman for 2 damn minutes. I don't care how much damage can happen in 2 damn minutes.
You remember back when we had Coach Aird on, and I asked him the question, do coaches ever get to the point where you kind of throw in the towel and you're like, okay, well, let's start looking and seeing what I got with the younger people or whatever? And he actually answered and said, yes, I do think coaches do that. I think that's where we're at. I hope that's where Archie gets to with this team, because I don't think any of us would be disappointed to see Indiana come out with all freshmen and Trace out there on the floor and just see what happens.
No, I wanted to see it a long time ago, actually, just to maybe to send a message to shake Rob out of his funk or to get more consistent, whatever it took. But yeah, we got to hit a break soon. But and there's been some player discord a bit. Jerome Hunter, Trace Jackson Davis last week in the huddle. I don't know who he was talking to with that big FU that he threw out, but it was clear, and that's not a good sign. I mean, that stuff happens, and that's okay to happen. You want players to get mad at each other if it's right. If it's, I mean, you were in those huddles. I mean, there are players that rip each other's butts all the time. And rightfully so, probably a lot of the time. But you need that if it's correct, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's never bad. It's not a bad thing in the right situation, in the right scenario. But this is not the right situation, and that was not the right scenario, and that was not the right timing, and that was a bad optics for the whole program in general. It leaves the speculation, and this has been my bitch of Indiana for a long time, is they don't ever come out and address anything like that. Like that'll be addressed with we could all guess almost exactly what the wording will be when asked about that scenario. And so that to me is where then we're allowed to just speculate or whatever we think it might be about, because if they're not going to address it, not going to answer it, then that's shame on them. But that's a bad look in a bad situation. And Trace didn't make himself look better. He didn't make the team look better, and he didn't make the coaches look better. He didn't make the program look better. He put it in a situation where we all are going to speculate on what that was about. And the speculation is obviously not going to be positive. They were getting blown out for the 4th or 5th time in a row. And it's a frustrating optic right now to kind of end your season on. And look, these guys have got to figure something out and shake something up. They've got nothing to lose. I think earlier in the year when we were begging for the lineup changes and more freshman playing time, they were still, I mean, hell, Lenardi had them still in a week ago. And
people were begging. People were almost begging in the tournament.
Now they could throw all that out the window, though. And it's not there, and they're not even close. And they would literally have to make it, I think, all the way to the championship game in order to even be back in the conversation of the Big Ten tournament. But in order to get to there, they're going to have to shake something up and do something different. And that's just not been the typical MO of this coaching staff.
Yep. Let's take a real quick break, a few minutes to finish it out, and we'll let you all get off on your weekend. Back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington right after this.
Welcome to your extraordinary.
Where'd he go? Is he coming back? Trace up. Okie dokie. There will be no overtime today. Man, Fridays are always the best shows. Daggone it, I hate when things don't go as planned. Jeez, I got a lot of crap to do today. God damn, I got that one. Shit. Honda. Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, where more means more. More selection, more savings.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Sky was all purple, there were people running everywhere.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Friday. It's Friday. Brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. They have a 0% APR financing rate going on right now. They have never done that at Honda ever. And that's about to end any time, so you better get out there. You can get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Last night on the hardwood, Michigan took care of Michigan State and probably put an end to their NCAA hopes. They are 14-11 overall. Was that their second game already? Have they already played twice? Nope. They play the 7th. They play at home on the 7th, so they'll get them one more time. But I almost think that they may have to knock them off to get in. Right now, the Big Ten is set to get in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 teams for sure. And I think that Michigan State is the anomaly for a 9th team. If they make it in, it's going to be tough for them to get in, but they would be the only other team. That's only 8. That would leave the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of the 14. And the Big 12, they're sending, I think, 7 of their 10 schools. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, they're going to get in 7. That's 70%. 70% of their conference will be going. And if I'm starting at the bottom, that's Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Texas, Kansas, West Virginia, then Baylor. The Big 12 is shaking out to potentially be they're more than giving the Big Ten a run for their money. They're going to get the same amount of teams in the NCAA tournament, or no, one less team, but it's a much higher percentage. Not that that makes a difference. It's just something to talk about. Now, I'll be curious as to how the Big Ten and the Big 12 compare in the tournament. Who gets more teams to the second round? Now, you guys are all Big Ten fans or Indiana, so you're going to be biased, but just try not to do that. Try to just think about it. I mean, these teams are good. The thing about, and I've said about the Big 12, is all of their games are fist fights, man. They're so close. I wish I could, JB3, if you were listening, man, he's the guy that could do this, but the top 7 teams in the Big 12, I'd like to see the average margin of victory in the games between those teams. Hell, there was another one last night. That went down. Did it go to overtime? It was just every night, and it's just a blast. I love college basketball. And the tournament, I think this is going to be the best tournament ever. The games wise, it's just I just have this feeling. Maybe being in the same place is going to help play, relax them more. I don't know. We'll have to see. Les Miles was banned when he was at LSU. He's the current Kansas coach. He was banned from being alone with female students while he was the coach at LSU following allegations of inappropriate behavior. LSU released a 2013 internal investigation into the coach's behavior after USA Today sued to make it public. After the investigation's existence became known in late February. You know LSU, man, they're LSU. Are you kidding me? Wade White, strong ass offer. They make strong ass offers in LSU. LSU football's in trouble again. Come on, man. That's LSU, though. That is LSU. Man, I can't thank everybody enough. I hope what are you guys doing for the weekend? What are the plans? Indiana plays early on Saturday, so you got all of Saturday night. So what are some of the big games that are actually coming up this weekend? I don't want to miss that. NCAA men's scores and scores. Let's go to the scores so I can skip ahead. Today's Friday. No games today. There's one, but that doesn't count. Nobody cares about Southern Illinois. Oh, that's the top 25. We got to go to all of Division I. Let's see. I still see nothing of interest. There's probably a lot of these are tournaments, these smaller tournaments. Dayton VCU, that's the A10 championship. A10 qualifier, Duquesne, Bonaventure. Yeah, these NBC tournaments going on, the A10 tournaments going on. So you've got some tournament action. So there you go. Any tournaments are fun. Evansville and Indiana State. That's for 3:00 today. So if you're in Evansville, you guys are playing right now. That means you're probably not listening to us. But yeah, so there's tournament stuff starting right now, man. I don't see really any big games, Miami and Boston College, but that seems to be just a lot of tournament. The smaller tournaments are going on because this is the time where they get recognition, because next week when everybody else is playing, nobody cares about these. But there's some fun basketball. Valpo, Missouri State. What time is that game? That's at 9 tonight. But there's basketball all day today, right now. So it has started. It began at 11 a.m. and it goes all day. So have at it. And then tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? Of course, Indiana, Purdue at 2. And don't forget, after the game with Todd Leary, of course, coming to you, brought to you by Yogi's. That's coming immediately after the IU Purdue game tomorrow, the last regular season game. But I think we're going to continue these throughout weekly, at least throughout the year, do some profiles, do some go back and look at some tape, some film, game film, and all that kind of stuff. So don't worry. We'll continue to be there for you. But that's after the game with Todd Leary, coming to you immediately after the Indiana-Purdue game tomorrow. You can go to YouTube and subscribe now. We really wish you would do that, because next year they're all going to be on YouTube. So go there and take care of that, please. That's going to wrap it up for us today, man. No overtime period. But we're looking forward. We're back tomorrow after the game. Hope you guys go out and have yourselves a great weekend. Thanks a lot to Verdell, as always, Alec Lasley, and Todd Leary. Man, keep wearing your mask. We're getting closer. Do something nice for somebody. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Quicksands got no sense of humor. I'm still laughing like